Alright, today's video will be a sort of thing you can think about is heaven and what you will receive there. I would like to use two parables. Well, Jesus used them, but I'm going to reference them. One is the servants. The master gave them so much, and he gave one 5 bags, and he gave one 2 bags, or 3, and then he gave the other one 1 bag. And he went away, and he left it to them, and he wondered what they would do with it. There's 2 robins up ahead of me, in case you're wondering. See? Beautiful. See them? They've been sticking pretty close. Anyways, as I was saying, he gave them these things of money. The one that had 5, invested it, and got a return on it, and got 5 more. And so the other one did an investment, as you know the story, and got more. But the one there went out and he buried his pouch of silver or gold that he was given, and he left it. He didn't do anything with it. Now you may ask, well, what's this parable talking about? It's about, and the master came back and they were able to give him this, and he said, because you did this and had, you multiplied it, here's so much more. And then the other guy got the same thing. The second one got the same reward for having, made a profit on it. He had that. And the other one, his was taken away, and he was cast out into the darkness. Now, while we won't lose our salvation, what you do here on earth for God, right, that will affect what you get in heaven for reward. What did you do with your body while on earth? What did you do with the talents he gave you, right? And a lot of people don't think about this, but when you stand before God, and what they call is a judgment, which is what they call it, Christians aren't, judged like, the regular sinners are, but we're judged on what did you do. So Jesus, God will ask you, what did you do with what I gave you? See, that's what Jesus, I believe, put the parables there, is to, what did you do with the time that was given to you, basically, while you were on earth in my name? Basically, what did you do for the kingdom, right? People would be like, oh, you're getting into works. This isn't works. Okay? Don't even go there. It's not, a works-based faith. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying what you choose to do echoes in heaven, okay? Stacking up rewards in there. Jesus says that. There will be rewards based on what you do. Pastors or teachers are held to a higher account for the way you taught. What did you preach on? Was it an effective representation of the gospel? There's going to be how many people did you share the gospel with? Is going to be another one. And there's going to be these series questions, and depending on what you did will depend on what you get for rewards, right? And we will be rewarded for what we do here. That's why Paul said about a race. And he said his race was won, and he fought the good fight, and it was done, right? He also did it because he said there will be a reward. And how you live your life and how you serve God and advance his kingdom will affect what you get in heaven for rewards. Now, some people try to say, oh, but what if I don't do anything? Well, you probably won't get too many rewards or be in that high of a position in heaven or whatever. Like, it's what you do. He's not going to cast you out and take away your salvation when you get there. If you got saved and you just, live your life for God and you just, do whatever, he's not going to just throw you out because you didn't, advance the kingdom or whatever. You're called to do it, but he's not just, but it will affect your reward levels. You see what I'm getting at is we will have rewards. That's why you put the parables there. And depending on what you do, depends on what you get. Now, everybody's going to get something different. That's true. There's certain people, I believe, the apostles, because they were chosen by him, they have a special spot. okay? I believe they already have their spot in heaven, and they're sitting on thrones right now, and they're part of the 24 elders or whatever. I believe 12 of them, from the scriptures, I would say are the apostles, is what I would say 12 of them are. And then the other 12 would be representing the tribes of Israel. That's just from what I've read. I could be wrong. Like I said, that's just what I read, pointed out, and that's where I think the 24 elders came from. But that's just what I've read, and that's just what I took as interpretation. Could be completely backwards. Like I said, it is what it is, but I'm not saying you have to go out and do a ton of stuff. Basically, I've often measured it by this. Is how I've always, look at it, living the Christian life, walking after God. I do my best to keep the commandments. I know I can't keep them all. I'm not trying to. I just do my best to, when I fall into sin, I repent, follow God, turn back to Him, do that. I do the best I can with what we have. Like sin nature, limited, like I do my best, okay? And that's all He's asking for. But I've often had it. My way of thinking about heaven is that keeps me making videos and just, talking to people about the gospel is if there's one person there, and I've said this in other videos, if there's one person in heaven that says, that man shared the gospel with me, or I saw one of his videos and I gave my life to Jesus, and it was because of his video or what he did, I would consider my life well lived. If there's even one person there, I would consider my life a success. I would consider walking with God completely successful if one person is there. And we don't know the impact we're going to have here. You might think you're not doing much. Sometimes I think that. You might think you don't have much influence, but eventually you're never going to know your impact this side of eternity. You won't know until you're in heaven and you stand there and He says, okay, you did this. And you look around, there's maybe 500, maybe 1,000 people there. And they could have been led to Jesus through something you said. See, that's why it's important to share the gospel, to make disciples. Because sharing it with somebody, they might not be receptive to it in the moment, but God works on their heart, changes them, and you could be there and they could say, because you shared the gospel with me, I gave my life to Jesus Christ and He changed me, right? And if you never share the gospel, right, you never tell somebody, about Jesus, and you never advance the kingdom, then how can you say, there's going to be nobody there, says, you helped them, or you did this, or you did that. And it's other people that will testify for you, right? It's other people that will testify to how you, shared the gospel with them or did whatever. That's what gives you credit, right? So just think about it. What are you doing on earth? There's a few bumblebees around, in case you're wondering, so I'm trying to walk by and not bang into them, because I know they ain't going to sting me on purpose, but I kind of don't want to get stung. Anyways, so remember, what you do here echoes in eternity, okay? And you will be rewarded for what you do on earth, okay? In heaven one day, do not think God isn't watching. He's watching and recording. And you will be rewarded depending on what you did here on earth, the kingdom, the gospel, all right? So let's run the race, and let's have that in our mind, and let's get there, and let's all have a reward that Christ is going to give us, okay? You'll see what I mean, see? Little bumblebee. Little bumblebee in the clovers. Anyways, I'll leave the video off here. So don't think you don't have an impact or you're important, okay? Because what you do, as I said here, will echo in heaven, okay? So go out, advance the kingdom, and just do your best. This has been Voice in the Wilderness, a soldier, bond servant of Christ, signing off. Whenever you see this, have a blessed day or night. Stay safe in these dark and crazy times, and I'll see you in the next one.